its heyday, the floating laboratory housed 9 astronauts and supported several scientific breakthroughs. But for the past 5 years, it has been abandoned and left to drift in space.
It's like driving a car where the steering wheel only works part of the time. This was just a big, huge box up there.
While the reentry team tries to predict the footprint, the pattern of Skylab's debris, others joke about NASA's troubles. They build Skylab targets and sell Skylab repellent.
This is supposed to ward off the evil spirit of Skylab as the pieces fall.
But inside Mission Control, it's a different story.
I took it very seriously.
There were some very serious people out there that were making a lot of noise like, hey, NASA, you're in for big trouble if somebody gets clobbered with this thing.
With each pass, Skylab's orbit decays and becomes more dangerous. The NASA team makes final calculations.
We're talking about entry sometime between 2:10 a.m. on the 11th, Eastern Daylight Time, and 10:10 p.m. that night.
It was tense. There were a lot of phone calls coming in. Everyone was wondering where it was going to hit.
We decided that we would try to target it for the Indian Ocean. That's a pretty big body of water.
But Skylab is not so cooperative. In the early morning hours of July 11th, the team realizes that Skylab's path is directly over eastern portions of Canada and the United States. They're concerned that the current orbit will spew debris across several large cities. The team must alter Skylab's trajectory through a maneuver called a tumble.
The mood near the end was very tense, but yet confident.
We saw it coming in over Canada. We said, let's time the tumble maneuver such that we'll get the impact in the Indian Ocean.
There was added pressure. We wanted to do the best we could to control the footprint. We knew that we had very little control.
The maneuver looks like a success, but the NASA team holds their breath. They no longer have control of the tumbling space station. Then, at 12:37 p.m., Skylab bursts into the Earth's atmosphere, but not where they expected.
Okay, surprise is over. No more suspense. Skylab is on the planet Earth somewhere.
We ended up with a lot of Skylab on top of Australia. That was because this thing really didn't break up in the atmosphere quite like we expected it to.
The wife and I and the wife's mother woke up with loud bangs, which we thought instantly was an earthquake.
We did not intend for it to hit Australia. We intended for it to go down entirely in the Indian Ocean.
The Australian desert is showered with tons of debris, but there are no injuries.
Personally, I think Lady Luck had a lot to do with it.
After nearly a year of exhausting hours, endless calculations, and immeasurable pressure, the reentry crew is finally able to celebrate. But it is a bittersweet celebration.
You sort of get attached to something like that. You know, it's sort of like a pilot gets attached to their airplane.
I was exhausted. I had been putting in very long hours. And I think the overall feeling of the team workers was one of sadness and tragedy.
Skylab has impacted.
A San Francisco newspaper offered a $10,000 reward for the first authentic Skylab souvenir. It went to a lucky Australian teenager.